Well, good afternoon. We're going to get started on the next session here in the cathedral, which is Growing Younger, which of course is why I'm here presenting it. Of course, it's all about how the church grows younger by appointing young bishops, I guess. No, it certainly isn't. This is all about exploring young people in fresh expressions of church in particular. So for those that don't know me, my name is Martyn, I'm Bishop of Leicester, and I'm doing this together with Pam Macnaughton, who is from Church Pastoral Aid Society, CPAS, and I'm doing the first 10 minutes, she's doing the second 10 minutes, and then if you would like to follow up with questions for us, we're going to be going across to the Wycliffe room, where you can follow up with further questions from there. So this is about young people within the place of fresh expressions of church. I was really keen that if we're going to talk about young people, we needed to hear from young people. So I am hoping that we've got a little video together. This is from the Bishop's Youth Council here in Leicester. And I just asked them a couple of questions about their understanding of community, their understanding of mission. We hope this is going to work. Have we got any sound?
Together that kind of just join in friendship.
How have I grown in leadership?
Prayer is something that I use when I am.
Okay, looks like the technology may have led us down there. Oh no, we're going to try again. Okay, try one more.
People around us and a chance for everyone to unite peacefully.
I think just a group of people just living together and helping each other and just living in fellowship.
A group of people that gather together.
Community is a group of people close together that kind of just join in friendship.
Prayer is something that I use when I am struggling with something, which is quite often.
A way that you can connect with God.
My personal connection with God, I suppose. I'm more of a casual prayer, to be fair. I like talk to God like I would talk to anyone else, to be fair. But
the chance to let God hear your thoughts and make your life better.
I think it's just being with God and just spending time in His presence with Him and just talking to Him like you would a friend.
Helping those who are less fortunate than us to journey in their journey to God.
Christian mission is when you go out to serve people because of your love for God.
I think it means going out and just helping people everywhere, whether it's in your own community, or whether it's halfway across the world, and just serving like God would serve.
reaching people that haven't got the opportunities to learn about Jesus Christ in their lives.
Christian mission should be spreading the good news and sharing God's love.
And church is anywhere where discipleship occurs amongst friends.
I like to think that I sell church quite well, that it's a really great place, but they might think it's a little bit boring sometimes.
Brilliant. Okay, so just a few initial thoughts from our Bishop's Youth Council here in Leicester. That's been running for some years now, actually. I've been very fortunate to inherit a very strong Bishop's Youth Council. And the way we involve them is to try and make sure, so I meet with them once a term, so that I'm able to bring particular questions to them to get their views on particular issues. They're able to raise questions with me, and then they take it in turns to attend our Bishop's Council as well. So the main sort of decision-making body for the diocese, they attend that and they're part of that as well. It's all part of the principle, for me, a foundational principle of what's sometimes called nothing about us without us. So if we're going to talk about young people, we need to involve them in the life of the church very generally as well. My own experience is of that happened to me when I was quite young. So at the age of 16, I found myself in a school Christian union, being asked to lead a Christian union group for a younger age range, so sort of 11, 12, 13-year-olds. And at 16, I was leading Bible studies with them. That's a great way, I think, in terms of making it clear to you that actually you can't do this on your own. It drives you to your knees in prayer. It drives you to go and talk to other people, to get advice from them. It drives you to go and read books and try and learn more as well. So I think there's something about a foundational principle of enabling young people to actually be involved and do things within the life of the church, and in particular within mission, Christian mission. Because actually for a lot of young people today, ethical issues are very, very high on their agenda, and they want to be involved in that sort of thing, to be exploring what it means for the church to be caring for the vulnerable in society, or what it means for the church to be speaking out prophetically on particular issues as well. I think the only other thing that I'm going to say before I hand over to Pam, who's going to give more examples from a particular fresh expression that she's involved with, is just to say that actually just, of course, asking young people to do things is not enough in itself. It's how we enable that to become a learning experience for them. So there is something about being really intentional in terms of the way we then ask young people to reflect on the experience of doing things. So in a very low-key way, usually, it doesn't have to be formalized, but in a low-key way, to come alongside someone after they've been involved in something, to actually ask those questions, the key questions, which get them thinking, get them reflecting, and enable them to turn that experience into a learning experience and to go much deeper with things as well. I think Fresh Expressions of Church are a great place to be able to do that. As we were hearing earlier from Archbishop Justin, it is about creating a safe environment where people can experiment, when they can try out different things. And that's often what young people need to be able to do, to try a different way of doing things and to know that it's a safe environment, that actually if it doesn't work out in quite the way that they'd hoped it was going to work out, that's okay. That actually you're there to come alongside them afterwards, again, to be able to give good, positive, specific feedback, and then to ask questions which enable them to go just a little bit deeper with all of that as well. That's enough from me. I'm going to hand over to Pam, who, as I say, has an example to give us.
Really, really good to be with you. Got some sound? Can you hear me? Yes, good. Really good to be with you to talk about growing young leaders in Fresh Expressions of Church, because it's something that is so rewarding to do and very exciting. Fabulous place, a Fresh Expression of Church, to help young leaders to grow and develop and discover things that they didn't know that they could do. I've been involved in our local village in a cafe church for the last 7 years. The young people wanted to do something, they had great ideas, they just needed someone to come alongside them and talk about how we might make those ideas work. So we started with a monthly cafe church in the evening in the church hall, and they gaily invited all the older people from the real congregation. And the idea was that it was a service, an event, planned, run and delivered by young people for young people. That's how it started. That's how largely it has continued. It grew from being a monthly event, it went twice a month, and eventually, after some years, has become a monthly congregation. So 4 things that I've learned along the way about ways to encourage young people. None of them are rocket science, you may well know them all already, but it's worth being reminded. So by young, let's just make clear that I don't mean under 60. Okay, I mean, sometimes you can go to a meeting and feel young in your 50s in the Church of England. I think we should need to take our message from the uniformed organisations who start training young people from age 8 to 10, don't you? And in church, you have to wait so much longer. But young children and young people have so much to offer if we'll give them the opportunity. Obviously, they need age-appropriate responsibilities, but don't underestimate what children and young people can do in leadership. Our job is to open the way for them, give them the opportunities, walk with them, encourage them. As Bishop Martyn was saying, debrief with them afterwards, pick them up when it goes wrong, and help them to keep going, keep encouraging them, keep encouraging them. So first of all, give them the opportunities. Secondly, help them to think about what's going on in the wider picture. Some years ago in the Diocese of York, we ran our very first Mission Shaped Ministry course, and I invited a 16-year-old and a 22-year-old to come on it from our church. Sadly, they were by far the youngest participants on the course. However, they absolutely lapped it all up. The chance to step back and think about what this was all about. They came away wanting to know how we could make it work for our church. How could we think things through better for our cafe church? Interestingly, those two people have gone on some years later to hold significant leadership responsibilities, either in their jobs or in their churches. That investment has really paid off. Give them opportunities, train them so that they can think about the big picture, and then help them to train others and dream dreams with them. The story never ends, does it, with one group of young people? They have so much to offer the younger ones, and we need to keep on being intentional, because people grow up, and unless we're investing in the next ones coming through, we're missing a trick. So the original group in our cafe church are now well into their 20s, and they need to be encouraged to give responsibility away, to trust the younger ones coming through. We need to refocus on those younger ones. Give them opportunities, train them, help them to train others, but to dream dreams. And the fourth thing is, keep asking, what is God calling us to next? Who is God calling next? At the commissioning of the very first National Fresh Expressions team, the reading was from Luke 5, when Jesus borrows a boat to teach the crowds on the shore. You'll remember the incident. When he's done, he tells Peter to go further out and let down the nets into deep water. Peter objects. For goodness sake, he says, we've caught nothing all night. And then I imagine him looking at Jesus and saying, well, okay, as it's you asking, we'll do it. And we know what happens, don't we? The nets are so full that not only their boat is filled to overflowing and starts to sink, but their friend's boat is filled to overflowing and starts to sink. The weight of the catch is huge, and Simon Peter is overwhelmed by this evidence of the power and the provision of God. And he kneels down before Jesus and says, go away from me. There's something so holy going on here, and I am a sinful man. And Jesus says to him, don't worry, it's okay. This is just a sign of what's to come. From now on, you're going to be catching people. So the two boats come to shore. The young fishermen get up. They leave the biggest catch they've ever had in their lives, and they go off and follow Jesus. Astonishing stuff. In company with Jesus, they learn, or start to learn, to be a bit like him in his ministry and his leadership. After 3 short years with him and plenty of drama along the way, they're ready to grow the kingdom once Jesus has gone back to heaven and the kingdom and the Spirit has come. Fresh expressions of church are places where leaders, old and young, can grow in faith by taking responsibility and trying new things. The more we enable that, the more things can grow. I wonder actually whether prioritizing the leadership of young people across our churches, inherited, planted, fresh expressions, can be the equivalent for us of putting the nets into deep water and watching God give us the catch and being surprised by what happens. I've watched all sorts of people in our cafe church do things that they never thought that they could do. It's a village church. We don't have a huge number of people coming to it, but those who come have learned that they can take responsibility and make a difference, that they can help others to encounter God. So, in preparation for this, I put some of them in a room. I thought they'll talk better, much better if I'm nowhere near it. One of them had a camera, and I said, could you answer the question, how have you grown in leadership from being part of this cafe church? The result is a little bit rough around the edges, and there's certainly one spelling mistake in the words, but I am so encouraged to hear their stories, so maybe we can finish with that. Thank you.
How have I grown in leadership from Cafe Church? Good question.
I started coming to Cafe Church as a non-Christian, and then a very new Christian. And I've been encouraged to take on leading roles of hosting Cafe Church, leading games, leading prayer activities and things as well.
For example, my talking publicly, my confidence in talking publicly.
I have been a Christian for about 6 years now. I have preached and led games and hosted.
I think as young as 12 I was asked to do talks, and that gave me so much confidence in who I am and what I have to say, that people actually are interested in what I think about God as well as what the vicar thinks.
I've been encouraged to do talks and things as well, which at first I wasn't very comfortable with, but then I sort of started with somebody to get my confidence up, and then eventually did one on my own.
Cafe Church has allowed me to develop my own thoughts and ideas while challenging me on all these things.
And it's such a safe environment to be able to explore who you are as a person and how you can develop all these skills that we have inside us.
The thing I love about Refresh is the way that there is an expectation that the young people will take a lead, and therefore it's not like we have to ask permission, we're given guidance and support, but actually we're encouraged to grow, to lead, to take the initiative ourselves. So I think that I've grown in confidence in my ability to lead and my ability to make good decisions and to empower the community.
Brilliant. Oh, some wonderful quotes within all of that. So that's it from the two of us. You get the choice now. Either you come with us over to the Wycliffe room, over in St Martin's house, where we can then have a conversation and explore all this in a bit more detail. Or you can stay put where you are, where the next session here is on coaching, which I think is actually very relevant in terms of that whole idea of how do you ask the right questions to enable learning. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, I love the video.